Okay, cool. All right, well, we're gonna start with the B portion of the RBT task list. Last week we went over A, but I did realize that we missed one on A.
Oh, okay.
How do I go backwards? This one, we missed A6, describing behavior and environment in observable and measurable terms. So behavior must be observable and measurable. Thank you.
So when we talk about observable, it's something when you're describing behavior, you don't just say, I think, or you try to guess. You have to describe it in the sense of what you can see. Like, what can you see? What do you see happening exactly? So if I see a child crying, I'm not going to say, oh, I think he's crying because he's hungry, because that is just going to be, what do we call it? What event? We have, I'll remember the name. Private event, thank you. So we're going to see it as a private event. But when we're describing, or when I saw her, there were tears in her eyes. She was crying out loud. Her face was kind of squeezed. Her face was squeezed together because you can actually. So you are telling exactly what you see, what is observable, what can be seen. And when we are talking of measurable, you have to describe it in the sense that you don't say, I think he cried for 20 minutes. No, you take your measurement out, like your timer, and start timing for how long the child cries, or how many times a child hits someone. Like, she hits him 5 times. You can like know how many times she hits the person. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So it has to be some type of quantifiable behavior where we can observe it, and we have to describe it in a way that it has a clear onset, and where we see, oh, okay, that is when she is in the tantrum, or whatever is when she drops to the ground, has tears in her eyes, and all of that. Okay, sorry, I just wanted to go over that one because I noticed that it wasn't on there. So now we can go into the B. So B is all about assessments. So as an RBT, you're going to be helping or assisting in conducting preference assessments, assisting in individualized assessment procedures, curriculum-based development, social skills, and you might also assist in functional assessment procedures. So it's important that we know what they are. So that's what B is going to talk about, all about assessments. So there's 3 types of preference assessments. You have the ask, and the ask is where you just basically are asking them what they want. So what toys do you like to play with, or what do you want to play? Those type of things. Those are going to be your ask preference assessments. And then you also have the free operant. And within free operant, you have contrived free operant and naturalistic free operant. Contrived free operant is we're kind of like manipulating the environment. We have selected a certain amount of toys that have been put out, versus the naturalistic free operant. We'll just kind of follow them around in the playground or in the playroom or something like that, and kind of gain information that way. And then you also have the trial-based methods, and that's where it's going to go into the single stimulus and the paired stimulus and multiple stimulus. Do you want to talk about the different types of preference assessments?
With the trial-based method, we have the single stimulus, And the single stimulus is when you actually just present a single item to the child to see if the child is going to interact with the item. Now, if the child interacts with the item, you have to also record how many minutes the child interacted with the item. And what I mean by one at a time, I always love to use my pen when I'm training. Like I have these 3 pens. All I have to do is like present one at a time. I don't present all at a time, just one at a time to see if the client is going to interact with that stimulus. And when we talk of paired stimulus, it's when we actually present 2 items at a time and see which one the client actually interacts with. At the same time, we're going to record for how long the child interacts with that stimulus. Now with multiple stimulus, we have 2 types of multiple stimulus. We have multiple stimulus with replacement, and we have multiple stimulus without replacement. Now with multiple stimulus with replacement, you have your 3 items, you present it to the child plays with this item. Now you replace this item by the time the child finishes playing with it, but you switch it around at the end of the day to see if the child is still going to interact with this item. Now, each item the client interacts with, you still have to record it. So if the child interacts with this one and you replace it, and the child interacts with this one again, you still have to record it. So that at the end of the day, we want to know how many times the child interacted with this. We want to know which item the child interacted with most. Now, with multiple stimulus without replacement, when the child interacts with one of the stimulus, you put it aside. Now, the stimulus keep reducing without replacement. So if the child plays with this one, we don't replace it, only the last one that the child is going to play with. So that is how the trial-based methods go.
Yeah, exactly. And so the multiple stimulus with replacement, the reason why you might run it with replacement is because your learner might have a hard time relinquishing items, or they struggle with no longer seeing their reinforcer in the array. So that's why we continue to replace it back into the array for a client who might struggle with relinquishing items. But the multiple stimulus without goes way faster because you're removing that item from their view, and then you're lessening the amount of items as you go. Okay, so it says that in B2, you'll assist with individualized assessment procedures, curriculum-based, developmental, and social skills. So for the most important thing in that, I think, is that you need to know the difference between a direct observation and an indirect observation. So a direct observation is where we're actually observing our client. So we are sitting in the room with them, interacting with them, and taking data, versus an indirect observation. That one is going to be like interviewing the parents, or maybe surveys or stuff like that, where we're just kind of taking some notes. And we can use a combination of the two, but for your exam, you just need to know what the difference is between direct and indirect. So just think direct, I'm actually hands-on, and indirect, I'm not really in there with them. I'm just maybe asking the mom some questions, taking a survey, and maybe I sent a survey to the mom or something like that. Okay, and then B3, that one says that you will assist with functional assessment procedures. So in ABA, in order for us to figure out the function or the why of the behavior, we conduct something that's called a functional behavior assessment. And an FBA is, it's very controlled. It's very you have an experimental condition, and then you have your test condition. And for that one, we're kind of and kind of in a way reinforcing all of the different conditions so that we can figure out which one is the true function of the behavior. And so you might see that every once in a while, but this is like a very, very formal functional behavior analysis. So not all situations may call for a functional behavior analysis that is so controlled and experimental in that way. But you guys do it all the time. You're also kind of conducting FBAs when you're taking ABC data. So ABC data also helps us to determine the function. So it's just important that you guys know why we're using this ABC and kind of being able to determine what the hypothesized function is. That way we're not inadvertently reinforcing behaviors because we didn't really know the function. So that is pretty much all of the stuff for the B section. So then I was going to take us over to some questions, unless you have anything, Eric, about functional analysis.
What I was just gonna say is that, like, when the time comes and you see somebody performing the functional analysis, FBA, you might think that the person is actually reinforcing the behavior, which is, yes, the person is actually reinforcing the behavior. But the product is what we need to look at. Why is the person? We're trying to see if the function of the behavior is escape, if it's attention, if it's demand, if it's for tangible. So if it is for, let's assume if it's for attention, like somebody was telling me the last time that they had a kid that just likes to pull people's clothes up, and they were like, don't do it, don't do it. Then I was like, you need to find out if he's doing it for sensual or he's doing it for attention. And the only way you can do it is first by reinforcing that behavior. The person does it and you say, don't do it, to see if the person is for attention or is for, then if the clothes pulling goes up, then you actually know that it's attention, then you'll be able to implement the right programs. Because if you don't find out the function of the behavior, you might be reinforcing the wrong behavior, and you would think that you are punishing the behavior that is supposed to be punished.
Yes, perfect. Okay, let me see if I pulled up the. How do I do this?
My lucky charm is Bennett.
You can see the quiz? Okay. Okay, so based on the data displayed on the graph below, what is the likely function of the client's problem behavior? So they have the multiple functions here and they're displayed graphically. And so I can't really see the, can you guys see it? Let's see if this makes it bigger. Okay, there we go. So what was the question asking us? Which one was the function? Okay, so it says frequency of target behavior. And then over here we have sessions. And so this one right here is saying that it is for tangible. And then this one is for control. The black one is demand. And And then the triangle one is for alone. Okay, Eric, tell us what's the function of the problem behavior? You're on mute.
I was going to say it was tangible, but my thing is tangible is all the way at 35, then it dropped.
Yeah, it goes down here.
And now, so the highest one is 25, the triangle, which is alone.
So which one would we say that it's?
I would say alone is the function of the problem behavior. Now for tangible, tangible would have been but tangible was all the way, all the way up. Then it dropped down to 15. Now, I don't know why it dropped down. Maybe they implemented, but it says the frequency, then it dropped down and it stabilized at 20, 23 or so. But if you look at the alone is on the 25.
Yeah, and that's the only one that really has an upward trend.
Yeah, because it keep going down. This one dropped all the way down. So at first, tangible was on the top of the list. Then now it's
Alone.
now it's alone. Now we can.
Or there's also undifferentiated.
It is differentiated.
Um.
And you can also go for the hint if you want to.
Oh yeah.
No, don't go yet. Don't get. Let everybody make up their mind. We are not the only one here.
Okay.
iPhone.
I have no idea. I'm just listening.
Right?
Yeah, but we need to, because they might give you graph on the exam, so we need to learn how the graph runs.
Oh yeah. But I don't want to guess wrong.
It's okay to guess wrong because we're also guessing.
It's okay, but you know how to read a graph, right?
Yes.
So what we need to do, look at the y-axis, then we look at the x-axis. Then we'll go from there. But let's go for the hint.
Let's get the
That's
hint.
fine.
Give me a hint. Here's a hint. In the graphic displayed below, the client's behavior appears undifferentiated. That is to say, based off these test results, it's not possible to clearly distinguish one function over the other. Session 4, tangible, appears elevated in relation to other sessions, but it's likely an outlier. As it is the only point in the data set higher than 25, and the remaining tangible test conditions fall in line with the average level of the other test conditions. So you were right. That one might have just been an outlier up there.
Yeah.
But
why will it be undifferentiated if 25 is the highest? Yeah, it's set than higher because it's the highest. 35 was the highest, then it came down. It actually dropped. So it's just like introducing a new teacher to the class and the student just went boom. Then by the next day, the teacher gets used to the student. The student gets used to the teacher and the behavior drops.
maybe
because they had a new teacher.
Maybe they're all kind of in the same average, not really one drastically higher than the other. I'm not sure.
That's good, but I would have gone for 25 though.
Okay. Oh my God, more data.
Okay. This one looks more obvious.
Yeah, that one's better. Based on the data display in the graph below, what is the likely function of the client's problem behavior?
This one you can easily say. I can actually see it, so.
You can see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so this one is.
That's tangible.
Attention. It says attention is a circle. And then
yeah. Okay, the
circle one is control. And then this one is demand. And then this one is tangible.
The triangle is alone.
Yeah, and the triangle is alone. So out of all of those, this one is the one that's showing a drastic difference in the frequency of behavior.
And that one is tangible.
Let's click on the graph.
Click on it to look at it. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so this one right here, that one's control.
No, is it control or attention? That's
Oh,
attention.
attention.
Yeah.
Attention. Yeah, so I think it's attention, right?
Yeah, then the triangle is alone.
Yeah.
Then the black triangle. Okay, the up and down triangle, that one is demand. Well, where is control?
Control is right here. It's the one. Oh wait, no, it's right here. It goes this way.
Okay, yeah, it looks like a diamond. But that one is alone, so this thing is alone.
So are we gonna say attention?
Is that attention? Yeah, attention, sorry. Mhm.
I think we're just
Yeah.
Okay, attention. Do you think attention, Avia? Or Vivian, I'm sorry. Maybe. Which of the following is a preference assessment where the individual is systematically exposed to many stimuli in sets of 2? This arrangement allows for each item to be presented at equal number of times, which enables us to create a preference hierarchy. How much each item is preferred or non-preferred. Multiple stimulus without replacement, free operand, or paired choice.
Multiple stimulus.
Look at the
The pad is gonna be the pad.
Yes. So right here it says set of 2, right?
2. Yeah.
Okay, paired choice. Okay, the ABLES, Assessment of Basic Language and Learning Skills, is a popular assessment for individuals with special needs, especially ASD. The ABLES R is arranged with skills organized into related groups such as motor, labeling, social skills, etc. Creating an easy to follow curriculum for that child. Each skill is broken down into instructional targets with objective criteria for mastery, with specific response criteria for each objective. This is an example of what type of an assessment. Okay, trials to criteria, norm reference, developmentally based, curriculum based, criterion reference, respondent assessment, empirically validated. Okay, so here it's underlining creating an easy to follow curriculum. So it has a curriculum and each skill is broken down into instructional targets with objective criteria for mastery, with specific response criteria for each objective. Okay, so what do we?
Curriculum-based criteria reference.
Yeah, I would say so. It's curriculum-based and it has criteria with multiple objectives. What do you think, Eric?
I was looking to trial to criteria.
Trial to
but
criteria.
I'm just saying, but let's curriculum based.
Let's see, we might beat you, we might be right. Woo!
Because it has all the sign in it.
Girls win. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Now I was looking at it since it was broken down like a task list, and you have to go. I know it has criteria and curriculum, but I was just saying.
Which of the following is an objective, clear, concise, clear, and complete response definition? Striking the body parts of others with an opened or closed fist, inappropriate language, aggression, mean language. So which one is speaking in observable, measurable terms, something that we can observe and that we can take data on?
A.
Yes, I like A too. What do you think, Eric?
Yep, I like A.
Yeah, so striking body parts of others with an open or closed fist. So if somebody said aggression, we would not know what it looks like. So they would have to give us a better, more clear definition. Okay. Which of the following is the name for the type of preference assessment where the individual is allowed to freely roam the room? Roam a room seated with potentially preferred stimuli while the analyst records the duration of engagement with each item in the room, hoping to gather an understanding of what items, if any, the individual spends their time with when allowed to freely interact with them, and potentially create a hierarchy out of the amount of time they allocate their responding. Paired choice, free operant, multiple stimulus, or multiple stimulus without replacement. So it just gave us like all this information, like way too much information. But the main highlighting part would be preference assessment where the individual is allowed to freely roam the room. So which one would that be?
I don't know. Free operants.
Yeah, free operant is the one where we just like follow them around and kind of see what they're
Allow them to. Okay.
Yeah, so that's the one that you do on the daily, right? That's the easiest, quickest one. So a lot of people, they might not even realize it, and they're always doing free operant. You're just following them around and like, okay, what is he gonna grab?
Okay.
Okay. Which of the following is an objective, concise, clear, and complete response definition? Runs quickly, but not too quickly with a good gait. Does it, completes the activity, brings the tip of his forefinger into contact with his nose within 3 to 5 seconds of the SD. So out of all of those, if your BCBA wrote this on her behavior plan and was like, okay, take data every time he does it. Okay.
It's gonna be D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because that's the one
That's the one that has the time.
And it's giving us a clear, clear and concise, and it's telling us what it looks like. Cool. Okay. Which of the following is the name for the type of preference assessment where the individual is offered an array of likely preferred items, typically 5 to 7? As each item is selected, it is removed from subsequent presentation of the array until the learner has selected each item from the array. So the item is going to be removed from the...
Mommy, where did I put my tape?
Removed from subsequent presentation. So that'll be one of two, right? Either the multiple...
Without replacement.
Without. Yes, without.
Awesome.
Woohoo! Okay. Based on the data displayed on the graph, what is the likely function of the client's problem behavior? Okay, well, there's a tiny graph again. Okay, which one do you think is the function here? It's clearly giving us the one that's the highest, and it is
Tangible.
tangible.
I don't understand this graph.
Okay, so you have your y-axis, right? And you have your x-axis. Now, when
Okay.
you are looking at the graph, try to look at your y-axis where this arrow is. Now, from there, you trace which one is the highest. Now, you see this, like, for instance, if you look at this, is on the highest point is about 6.5, 6.5, right? Now, maybe, like I said earlier, you had a teacher, maybe a student had a teacher, and the student just started throwing tantrums.
Mhm.
So the teacher took the function of the behavior and realized that it's tantrum. Then implemented by the next day, by the time the teacher came back, now that the teacher is no longer new, the child dropped her behavior to this place. But that doesn't mean that the behavior is not there. It wasn't just as high as the previous time, but her behavior is still maintained by access to tangible. Because if you look at down here, it tells you what each of this shape means.
Okay.
So
okay.
the highest of them, it's what is what the function of the behavior is.
Okay.
So it is obvious now that this is a function of the behavior.
Okay. Okay. I see.
Yeah, so
Thank you. Yeah.
yeah, so the functional, the FBAs, it's not something that you see them do every single day,
Mhm.
but we do them in our clinic. And it's really cool to actually watch them, because what they'll do is they change their shirt. So their shirt color stands for a different condition each time. So in the alone condition, the child will be left alone with no consequences for the behavior. And then we try to see if he engages in the behavior when he's alone. And then they'll change their shirt for the attention condition. And every time the student engages in the tantrum or whatever the case may be, they provide him with attention. And then they'll change their shirt, and then they'll go in the demand condition. And every time he has a tantrum, they let him escape. And then they'll change their shirt again, and then they'll go in as the play condition. And then this time, whenever he engages in the behavior, what happens? No demands?
Yeah, no demand because it's a
Yeah, no demands placed. And so that's basically what the graph is showing. It's like pretending like we did that, right? It's pretending we ran an FBA, and it's telling you what the data looks like in each condition. And so you'll want to look at the one with the highest frequency of behavior. So in this situation, it's saying that in the tangible condition, so every time he cries, we will give him the toy. Every time he cries, they give him the toy. And so they were like reinforcing it, right? And so that reinforced us and let us know that it's probably for that function. And so that's why the graph looks all crazy, because it has all of the different conditions, and they're taking data and seeing, does he engage in the behavior when he's in certain condition. Okay, so what did we say it was?
Tangible.
Tangible? Okay. A multiple stimulus without replacement is described best by which of the following? Stimuli are presented in pairs. and one choice is allowed at a time. All stimuli are matched together at least once. Many stimuli are presented simultaneously, but only one choice is allowed at a time. And after an item is chosen, it is returned to the array. Many stimuli are presented simultaneously, but only one choice is allowed at a time. After an item is chosen, it is removed from the array. The individual freely engages with any item in a typically richly seated environment, and engagement time with each activity is recorded.
See?
Many stimuli are presented simultaneously, but only one choice is allowed. After the item is chosen, it is removed from the array. Yes, you got it. What type of design is employed by a functional analysis to verify the maintaining variables of a given behavior? Oh, we didn't talk about that.
Maintaining value of given behavior.
I have no idea.
Maybe multiple,
Maintaining baseline.
maybe multiple baseline.
I'm looking at multiple baseline design. I was thinking of alternating treatment plan, but alternating, you have to do one. But it's treatment, but we are looking at baseline because functional analysis is not baseline. I mean, it's not treatment. It's actually a baseline procedure.
I know, but I think
To know.
I think it's alternating treatment because remember the graph, the way it looked?
Mm-hmm.
That's the way an alternating treatment graph looks.
Yeah, but are we doing treatment or are we looking at baseline? We're looking at the.
They're just asking you what kind of design they use.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's alternating treatment.
Okay.
Let's get the hint so they can explain it to us. A functional analysis is a type of functional assessment where consequences for problem behavior are manipulated in an experimental alternating design to demonstrate which consequences are likely functional reinforcers for a given behavior.
Yeah.
Note, in the context of behavior analysis, experimental does not necessarily mean untested or unproven. The word experimental indicates that the analyst is verifying a functional relation. Yeah, so that's
Alternating treatment design. Yeah.
That graphic display, that's the way that they were showing us with the multiple different I guess the multiple conditions. Those will be your multiple treatments.
Yeah.
Okay. Free operand preference assessment is many stimuli are presented simultaneously, but only one choice is allowed at a time. After an item is chosen, it is returned to the array on subsequent trials. An individual freely engages in any item in a typically richly seated environment, and engagement time with each activity is recorded. Many stimuli are presented simultaneously, but only one choice is allowed at a time. After an item is chosen, it is removed from the array. Stimuli are presented in pairs, and one choice is allowed at a time. All stimuli are matched together at least once.
B.
Yeah. Okay. Food, sex, water, breathable air, and any other stimuli that are necessary for life are what type of blank reinforcement?
Unconditioned.
Perfect. Unconditioned. So unconditioned are things that are unlearned. They're also known as your primary reinforcers. And your primary reinforcers, those are the things that are innately desired within you, like as a human being.
You know, while you were reading it, I was looking for primary reinforcers. I was like, where's the problem? Where's the problem? then I saw the unconditional. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta be careful because ABA has a lot of like AKAs. So like unconditioned, primary reinforcer, unlearned. Those are all mean the same thing.
What about automatic?
Automatic. Maybe. So, well, automatic.
Well, the thing is, when you say automatic, it has already contacted a reinforce. Either a reinforcement or it has been disciplined. I mean, it has either a reinforcer or it has either been reinforced or disciplined. So, for instance, if a mosquito bites me and I kill the mosquito, then scratch the place. You understand? That's like an automatic. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If mosquito bites me and I scratch that place and it goes away. Now, nobody helped me. I helped myself. Now, next time if mosquito bite me, what do you think I'm going to do? So one way or the other, it has contacted a reinforcer. Oh, Selena, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm trying to think because
for me, it's like a baby that sucks his or her finger, her thumb. Like, it's nobody's reinforcing, they're reinforcing themselves. So let's assume the first time they did it, it was really good. They're not going to do it again.
yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't get it mixed up with the automatic. So automatics, AKA is sensory. But whenever you see anything that's like unconditioned, primary, respondent, those are all AKAs for each other.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying what automatic was, not with this ones.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm just telling her to not confuse the two. But yes, I liked your explanation for automatic. So we're going with unconditioned?
Yeah.
Okay. Which of the following is an objective, clear, concise, and complete response definition? Crying with or without tears for longer than 5 seconds, does math problems the right way, behaves inappropriately, tends to harm others.
A.
Yes, perfect. That was the only one that was giving us a good, clear,
Concise.
yeah, definition.
Oh, wow.
Okay, well, now you're a pro at this one, so you can answer. Based on the data displayed in the graph, what is the likely function of the client's behavior?
Okay, I'm gonna try. So
Let me see. Okay.
demand.
Yeah, so demand is displaying the highest frequency.
Yay.
Yay, you're correct.
Okay.
A paired stimulus preference assessment is best described by which of the following? Okay, we've read this one multiple times, haven't we?
No, but they're asking it. First, they'll ask you what's a peer stimulus, but now they're not telling you a peer stimulus, then they'll put the definition. You pick which one is the definition.
Oh gosh, okay.
The same question, but they're mixing up how it's worded.
Yeah,
I mean, how it's worded.
They're using stimulus control transfer and asking it in multiple.
Exactly.
Okay, what do you think? Do you guys want me to read all the answers again, or we already know?
We already know.
Okay, what is it?
B.
Yes, of course, because they already asked us a million times. All right, we're doing good. A blank is a type of assessment that allows the analyst to determine the why or reinforcers for a specific behavior by arranging test conditions which manipulate antecedents and consequences in an alternating design to evoke and reinforce problem behavior. After the assessment, the conditions are compared with the goal of discriminating what test condition evoked the most problem behavior and is therefore likely a functional reinforcer for the problem behavior.
Oh, that's long. Functional analysis.
Yeah. Yes.
I object. Maya bridge analysis. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah, sometimes the test will throw you random, like crazy things that you're like, I've never even heard of that. So if you've never heard of it, it's probably not real.
Yep.
Okay. Multiple stimulus with replacement is best described by which of the following options?
C.
With replacement.
Oh, with a replacement.
Yeah, let's look at what they underline there with.
Yeah.
So when it's with, they have to put it back.
B.
Yeah. Many stimuli are presented simultaneously, but only one choice is allowed at a time. After an item is chosen, it is returned to the array on subsequent trials. Okay. Which of the following is the name for the type of preference assessment described below? This stimulus preference assessment has a participant select one item at a time from the array of potentially preferred stimuli. Each time they select an item from the array, they can select that item again on the next trial. This continues while the analyst records the number of times each item is chosen, generating a list of most highly preferred stimuli. Okay, so which preference assessment does this describe?
I'll say C.
Yeah, because they can select that item again.
Again.
So once they take it, they have to put it back. So it's with replacement.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're on a roll.
I actually love the way it was. I love the way it was worded.
It's a good teacher, huh?
He is a good teacher for real. Like he knows it all.
No, I'm trying. You should see me
Well,
struggling.
I'm learning from you though. At least now I can read the graph.
Yeah, it's good to it's good to get it from different people, you know, like multiple different examples, and other people learn differently. So it's good to like just get however other people understand it. Okay. A blank is a type of assessment where stimuli are presented to an individual in a systematic fashion with the overall goal of determining what, if any, of the stimuli are preferred by the individual. These preferred stimuli may be used as reinforcers. Is it a multiple exemplar assessment, a functional analysis, ABC recording, or a preference assessment?
I need to go through this again.
Preference assessment?
Yeah, good. Because that's what we've been talking about this whole time. So they're using preferred stimuli and seeing which ones can possibly be reinforcers.
I would have said ABC. I would have said ABC recording.
You
Just joking.
you better not.
I know.
BCBA.
Then I'll get fired from work.
I'll fire you from the study group. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, you're my boss, so you can do that.
Whatever. Let me stop recording. Hold on.